Ladies and gentlemen, I just discovered a cardinal sin of investment that cause people to lose a lot of money. And I just want to say that today I think it's important for me to bring out this because the market is going through some volatility. And this thing, if you commit it, is a sin of investment, you are bound to lose money. Let's watch on, shall we? There's a money losing strategy that many investors are guilty of. And I begin to realize this because right now, a lot of people are writing to me and saying that, Mr. Lu, I've been monitoring the stock market and the situation looks very bad. The AI bubble seems to be bursting. The stock market ain't going up anymore. In fact, it's coming down. The Federal Reserve is not going to cut interest rate anymore. And I think it's just disaster that's going to happen anytime right now. So should I pull out? Should I now stop my DCA? Should I quickly reallocate everything out to cash and so on? So I think this is where I want to stress something very, very important. The cardinal sin of investment is over monitoring. Over monitoring. And I think there's a quotation I want to quote from this co-founder of the Smart Investor. I actually don't know her. I just happen to see her. He says this: a tree doesn't grow faster because you check on it every day. Neither do your investment. Well, it's very well scripted, and for a young lady like her, she can figure this out. That's very good. Incidentally, I want to talk about ladies because this sin is heavily committed by men. To some extent, ladies as well. Okay, but not as much as men. But over monitoring is a very, very a dangerous thing when it comes to investment, especially in times like this. Now, this is a behavioral trap. A lot of people just love to, monitor the market, 24 by 7. The minute you wake up at night, they just take a look at it before they go to sleep. They also look at it. Well, constantly checking prices, it costs you a lot of anxiety and clouds your judgment. Now, let me just point to you guys what really makes a good investor. It's not what you have up here, okay? It's not your head, it's your heart, right? So the best investors are 90% robot, 10% human. Even I cannot reach there, but I think I can probably do 70%, 70% robot, 30% human. I think that's good enough, okay? But if you go and keep watching, the human part of it goes up. And this will cause you to react a lot to short-term volatility, short-term noise, short-term situation in the market that has no benefit to long-term. And as a result, you cause a lot of fear-based, greed-based decision-making, and this is unnecessary. Now, this kind of misconception that being very active, very hardworking, is usually in our culture towards money making, towards working, towards business. However, towards investment is a different thing altogether. Investment, stock market investment especially, wealth comes from patience, not from activity. So let me just be a bit more controversial. Stock investment, surprisingly, is a investment or is a form of money making that rewards inactivity. In short, the more lazy you are, the chances are you make more money. Okay. And I don't mean to say that you're lazy to the point that you don't do anything, not even take the first move to understand at least what you're buying and things like that. But after you buy it, after you put your investment in, inactivity will cause you to grow your investment, and activity will have the reverse action. So returns doesn't commensurate with busyness, which is very funny. Because in our work, we work very hard. We are very hardworking. We do a lot of things, and then that returns us with a very nice reward, but not stock investment. Okay, consistency and inactivity, beats cleverness anytime. I've known so many smart people that cannot do well investment, and I know of many people who don't know much but just know that they should not look at it, make a lot of money. So this is actually harnessing the power of compounding, and that requires a certain zen, a certain level of stillness. Well, my investment strategy is very well known. It ain't that spectacular, but it's enough to make quite a lot of money. Number one is build a financial safety net with your CPF, which I talk to death. Now I don't just talk about special account topping up and Medisave topping up. I also talk about CPF life, management and things like that, which is very important to everybody. But after you build that foundation, you just accumulate dry powder. And when there's a market crash, you just buy. You just buy, you just buy, you just buy, right? Because I'm a big believer of Warren Buffett's mantra, which he learns from his sifu, that when you be greedy when other people are fearful. And this is how I do it. And after that, just leave it alone and just walk away. But people who said, Mr. Lu, I can't do what you do. Okay, that's fine. Then do dollar cost averaging throughout all time. Start in a normal time and don't start in the high. Okay. Now you start now you start in high, right? But start your dollar cost averaging throughout all times and walk away. Are you capable of doing that? Right? Then you over a long period of time you make hell of money, man. Let me also highlight. A lot of people say, so Mr. Lu, how do you buy during crashes, right? Well, we all understand that when the market crash is the best time to buy. But what everybody wants is to catch the bottom. Well, I'm sad to say this. To catch the bottom is really very difficult. Okay. And this is where I would just say we just catch around the bottom, or as long as the market crash significantly, you just go in. Never mind, if you crash some more, you will still make money in the long run. Because this kind of inefficiency in the market helps a lot of people like me, like Warren Buffett, and all the bottom fisher to make a hell of money. Let me just say this: you may not know, okay, when the crash is going to come, but when you are in a crash, 99% of people know that. All right, most people know that you are in a crash. Okay, and everybody just attempt to either run for their life or try to fish a bottom, which is very difficult. You don't need to. As long as buy during crashes, I think it's fine. So therefore, you will know it when you are in it in a crash. So you don't need to have big prediction capability because the obvious is very obvious. Okay. And at that point in time, chances are the whole market is broadcasting fear, tremble, and panic. Right. So during those times, just dump your dry powder into it and then just walk away and live your life, right? It's as simple as that. Now, however, people don't do that. What do the people do? They over monitor. They monitor the stock market and they watch it day and night. They watch it every hour. They take a look at it. And then when the market goes up, they get greedy. When the market goes down, they get fearful. And then they go into this emotional roller coaster, up and down, up and down. And as a result, you make very poor decisions along the way. And when it's time to buy, you sell. When it's time to sell, you buy. And as a result, you distort the whole compounding process. Well, guys, okay, let me say this. Trees are best treated when you let it grow by itself. So is investment. So investment, the best thing to do is after you deploy, you just walk away. You just walk away. Now, of course, you want to deploy in the right instrument. If you deploy in high risk, a high volatility single stock asset that could have a jibaboom, existential risk, then I think, first of all, you should not do that. Then maybe that will cause you to want to monitor. But if you buy a broad-based index, S&P 500, MSCI World Index, Dimensional Fund, NASDAQ, whatsoever, I think the whole market is okay. This is a bit sexist in favor of the ladies. I just say this again. I notice again and again the ladies investors do better than men. Okay, they trade a lot less often. In fact, they don't trade at all. They are surprisingly less emotional towards stock market and volatility. Okay, and they tend to invest longer, like decades. In fact, a lot of times they even forget the existence of their stock because they are able to balance between life and priorities instead of being obsessed with over monitoring. So over monitoring is a cardinal sin, and this sin cardinally hits men more than women. So please, be very disengaged with the stock once you're put in a good position. Now, in case you think that this is just Mr. Lu blowing hot air, Warren Buffett also say this, right? He says this: the stock market transfer money from the impatient to the patient, right? And the only way you can be patient, is to just forget about it and walk away. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right-hand man, says that the big money is in the waiting. Waiting don't need to see. Okay, waiting just keep far away. And Jack Bogle, the father of passive investing and indexing, he actually said this: don't just do something. That means he encouraged don't do anything. Just stand there. Just stand there. Well, so in stock market, patience ain't about passive, okay? It's a competitive age that compounds wealth over a decade. The more you have the ability to not do anything, the more you will make money. So in closing, plant your capital like a tree. Stop over monitoring. And all you need to do, form a financial safety net, then start accumulating dry powder. And after you accumulate dry powder, when there are crises, you buy. And if you can't, just automate the process, okay, of dollar cost averaging and step back and live your life. That's all it takes, okay? And you could make a lot of money. You can make a lot of money. This is the only thing I know, right? What the hell do I know? And that's enough, right? That's enough to make a hell of money. So long-term wealth, outsized returns are built by disciplined action during crisis and peaceful inaction during normal times. Okay? So with this, just remember, stop watching, start growing. And please remember that in calmness is strength and profitability. Okay, so thank you so much, and I hope to see you guys again in my live streams. Okay, and happy to get your view on this. Thank you and good night. Bye bye.